They referred to the good old days of Bill Clinton. Of course, he won a second term. And as we've been discussing on this program and others, Buster, perhaps the reason he did it, he was willing to work with a Republican Congress at the time. And it was Bill Clinton, lest anybody forget, that it was Bill Clinton who was president that in 1996 signed the Defense of Marriage Act into law.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here we are, 2012, and one of the main platform incidents that the Democrats have adopted is actually homosexual marriage and denouncing all the constitutional amendments that have been passed by 30 or more states in this country and also the federal Defense of Marriage Act.
Yes,
it's right
they
in the
have.
platform.
Yes.
It's right in the platform. So you're going to have a president, former president tonight, who signed into law the Defense of Marriage Act before a group of delegates who say, we believe in homosexual marriage and we believe the Defense of Marriage Act is wrong. Quite a contrast. Quite a contrast in that period of time.
Don't you think it's great, though, for voters this time to have such stark and clear differences as they are outlined in the party platforms?
Oh.
I mean, there's no question about where each side stands, and you can make a better choice as a voter.
Well, certainly we've talked about it the last few days, and we knew this was coming, that abortion would be celebrated in the platform. Also, homosexual marriage, as we just mentioned. But I guess it was a little surprise even to many conservatives yesterday when we learned that the word God was being extracted from the platform. Paul Ryan, the Republican vice presidential candidate, reacting to that today, he told Fox News and Friends this morning the change is not in keeping with the country's founding documents and principles and suggests the Obama administration is behind the decision. The Republican platform mentions God 12 times. All right, no mention in the Democrat platform 12 times in the Republican. So goes to what you were just saying, Buster. There is a very distinct difference between the platforms of the two parties. Don't know if anybody saw the interview on Fox News with Illinois Democrat Senator Dick Durbin last night. Brent Baer questioning him on why the Democrats removed God, the word God, from their platform, and also any reference to Jerusalem being the eternal capital of Israel.
That's right.
They also did that. Dick Durbin got very upset.
Yeah, he got a little heated.
Never answered the question, why. He instead went on the attack against Fox News and others for trying to depict the Democrat Party as being a godless party.
Interesting inside note here, too, for our listeners, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
We have discovered, as you mentioned at our devotion this morning, that on Radio Row, as they call it, at these conventions where all the radio and news people gather and do their shows from at these conventions, the word has been put out at the Democratic National Convention that nobody is allowed to speak or do an interview with any of the conservative radio people at the Democratic National Convention, Radio Row.
Yeah.
That's just incredible to me that they would do that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the mainstream media, I happened to be in Tampa the first weekend of the convention last week, and the mainstream media were there in force. The NBCs and the CBSs and the CNNs and all of those, they were there, and I don't remember any conservatives or the Republican Party saying, don't talk to these
No
people.
embargo on the mainstream media at the Republican convention.
No, none whatsoever.
Interesting.
Now, of course, the other news today is that President Barack Obama is scheduled to speak tomorrow night. Now, the Democrats had hoped to hold that speech in the outdoor Bank of America Stadium, which seats over 70,000 people. Now, there was some concern about the Democrats about getting enough people to make the crowd full, to fill that stadium. In fact, there were plans, they were going to bus in university students from around the state of North Carolina, churches, many churches. They were calling on many churches to bus their congregations in there. Well, now they've decided, they say because of the weather this morning, the Democrat officials canceled that venue, and now they're going to hold a speech inside the Time Warner Cable Arena Stadium, which only seats 20,000. What are they going to do with the excess that may show up tomorrow night, thinking that they're going to get to see the president live in that Bank of America Stadium?
They get a do-over ticket for next time.
I guess so. So We'll see. But Republicans are immediately reacting also to this cancellation, saying it's probably because they were worried about those camera shots which would show empty seats at that big stadium. Could be the case. Hey, listen, this morning at the convention site there in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Coalition of African American Pastors held a news conference. Now, this coalition was set up, of black pastors was set up after President Barack Obama personally endorsed homosexual marriage, and it became very clear that the Democrats planned to put that in the platform. They are led by Reverend William Owens, who has been interviewed by us here at American Family Radio a number of times. He is upset, he says, by taking this grave and unnecessary step of endorsing gay marriage in the party platform, President Obama and the Democratic Party are once again putting black Christians at the back of the bus. End quote. He went on to say every other constituent of President Obama, every other key part of the party base, gays, Latinos, women, gets a hearing, except black voters whose voices and values are ignored. He goes on to say this is more than a shame. It's an outrage. We are here to warn the Democrats, do not leave out black Christians. Do not take our votes for granted. So there you have it. Opposition being felt on the outside there this morning by this coalition of African American pastors. One more story of note, a non-political story. Very powerful earthquake reported this morning off the west coast of Costa Rica. 7.6 earthquake. Tsunami warning up there, but officials are saying there's only one reported death from a heart attack at this point. Of particular interest to us in the newsroom, Buster, because our editor of One News Now and his wife are down vacationing in Costa Rica.
Is that right?
We have heard from him this morning. He fortunately is on the east coast of the country. He got a little shaken up, he said, but he's doing just fine. Otherwise, he and Kathy are just fine.
I didn't know that.
So his friends who may be out there who are listening, they're doing just fine. They were able to contact us via Facebook.
Okay.
All
Awesome.
right.
Well, we're glad they're okay.
You bet.
And also, when we're speaking of folks who need our prayers, let's remember the folks down in the Louisiana parishes that, of course, suffered from the rainstorms of Isaac. They are experiencing some severe thunderstorms this afternoon with some tornado warnings going on. So tornado warnings in the areas that are just now cleaning up from Isaac. Let's remember to keep them in our prayers as well.
Time for winter.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Hey, may be able to take a